Welcome to a MargaDarshak program from Sharada Academy. It's a mentorship program for the less privileged college-going girl students from semi-urban and rural areas. Today's topic is Switzerland and Swiss culture by Dr. Ken Ritley, who is a professor of computer science at BFS University in Berne, Switzerland. So I've known Ken for about 15 years when we were colleagues at Hewlett Packard from 2008 to 2010. He was very happy to conduct this session for you, both Ramya and Monica, as a guest speaker. You know, Switzerland for the Alps, the ski resorts, and Bollywood songs. You must have seen a lot of Bollywood songs being shot in Switzerland. And of course, the famous Swiss bank, Swiss chocolates, cheese, watches, Swiss knife, etc. But there is much more to that, as Ken will talk about the unique Swiss culture and something that we Indians do not know about this unique country. So let me hand over the session to Ken. Welcome to the special session, Ken, and here you go.
Hi, thank you very much, Arvind. I'm great to have Ramya and Monica in the call and some other visitors. Arvind, thank you very much for inviting me. It would be good if you have questions, stop me at any time. Here in Switzerland, we're not so formal like in India. So if you have a question, feel free to stop and ask me. That's perfectly okay. I will try sharing my screen now, and let's hope that works. Share screen. Share screen. Share. So, do you see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah, very good, very good, very good. Super. So I am Ken. Here in Switzerland, we're very informal. So we don't say Mr. Ken or Dr. Ken. We just say Ken. That's me. And I included a nice picture here that I took somewhere close to the Nandi Hills. 58 years old. I don't feel like I'm 58, but I'm 58 years old. I originally studied physics, and I had a lot of wonderful chances to live in Germany, in the US, in Bulgaria. Now I'm living in Switzerland. But the highlight of my life, and I say that with all honesty, I spent almost 4 years living in Bangalore, and that was really just wonderful. I love India. I love the culture. I spent all my time in Karnataka driving around. There's so much to see, incredible sights. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Shravanabelagala, the large statue, it's just amazing things to see. I also spent nearly 6 months in Mumbai, which I did not like at all. It's a very big city. It was too big for me, too big. Bangalore is a nice city. Mumbai was too big. And I've been in the IT world where I met Arvind for almost 20 years or more than 20 years. And now I teach college here in Switzerland. So I will tell you a little bit about Switzerland. Probably you've seen Bollywood movies, and so probably these pictures are quite normal to you. We have the biggest lakes in Europe, beautiful big lakes. The water in the lakes, and this is true, it's so clean. You have permission from the government to drink the water. That's how clean it is. We have the largest waterfall in Europe. We have the biggest mountains in Europe. Behind me, that mountain there is 4,000 meters, and it's so high that if you go up at once, your body will have problems because it's too high. So you have to go up very slowly. And what a lot of people don't know is that we have tunnels through the mountains. We have over 1,000 kilometers of tunnels, and there's one tunnel where the trains travel, and it's 55 kilometers long. One tunnel, 55 kilometers long. It's just amazing. So that you've probably seen. From a society point of view, as Arvind mentioned, the cows, the chocolates, we're famous for the Swiss banks. Switzerland is a neutral country. we have a military, but Switzerland does not get involved into other countries' politics, tries not to have any enemies, and we have a social system that's too good. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But if a woman has a child, the company pays her for 6 months, even though she's at home. And if her husband also wants to stay at home, they pay him as well. If you lose your job, the government pays you. So it's just an incredible social system. And I have here some facts that you wouldn't believe. People retire at 62, and after they retire, they continue to get paid. I mentioned that you can drink from the rivers and the lakes, and there's a huge number of foreigners here in the country. There's 25% foreigners, but they're very well integrated with the Swiss, and people live in harmony and happiness, and there's very few or no problems with that. If you have questions, please feel free to stop me. I put Switzerland on a map of India so that you can see how small we are, and it's almost too small to see on the map of India, so I put it on the map of Karnataka, and you can see that Switzerland goes from Mysore down here at the left over to Vellore at the right. It doesn't even go to Chennai, or maybe it's the difference between Chennai and Bangalore. That shows you how small Switzerland is. So it's a very tiny country, and if you see my mouse, if you can see my mouse, everything below my mouse is just mountains. So really, people live in the north. They live a little bit in the south, but below my mouse here, halfway, that's where all the big mountains are, and there's not a lot of people living there because it's mountains. I mentioned that we have very many tunnels, thousands of tunnels. What we also have that I think surprises a lot of people is we have special bridges just for the animals. And when I had visitors from India visit me, they always think that's so amazing. Wow, you build bridges for the animals. And so here's a bridge over the road, and that's good for the animals because they don't get hit by the cars, and it's good for the cars because then they don't get hit by the animals. That shows you a little bit how amazing the Swiss people are. They think about things. They think about protecting the environment. That's very, very nice. What may shock you a little bit is some of the prices. So Switzerland is the most expensive country in the world, and I converted here the prices to rupees, and you can see when I order masala dosa at an Indian restaurant, which it's very hard to find here in Switzerland, but I know one restaurant that serves masala dosa. It's almost 3,000 rupees. A small, tiny apartment is 1.5 lakh per month. If you own a dog, you have to pay a dog tax, so that's very unusual. And if you're a religious person, you have to pay a religion tax to the government, depending on which religion you're in. Some religions are very expensive, and some religions are free. So that also is very unusual. Even though you may think it's expensive, one of the points I want to make is that it's all relative, and this is a picture that I took in Rajasthan, and this is a picture in Switzerland, and you may, if you take a look at the price of a lorry and how much lorry drivers make in India, and then you convert it to Swiss francs, it turns out that it's the same. So it's not necessarily that Swiss people are living a life that's so much better than other countries. It's in some areas like here, it's very, very comparable. It's very similar. Any questions? Ramya, Monica? Arvin asked me to share some things that you might not know about that might surprise you a little bit. I've done that here. No, not everyone is rich, and especially in the mountains, there are people that really struggle to live because they're in small villages and there's not a lot of job opportunities. So at our local supermarkets, we can donate clothes and shoes to help the Swiss people in these rural villages. In these rural villages, sometimes there'll be one school room, not a school house, but a school room, and you'll have people from ages 5 to 15 in the same room learning together. So it's not that the entire country is rich. All the men are required to join the army or civil service, and they have to stay in the army for quite a long time. So most of them stay in the army until they're around 30 years old, and that's really a big commitment. But what I see is that it forms a good bond with the Swiss people. It sort of connects them in a good spirit, and they feel like they're all part of the Swiss team. That's in the military. For many years, Switzerland was under attack from other parts of Europe. And if you remember World War II with Germany, they were also fighting in Europe. So to protect themselves, Switzerland has a very long history of survival and protection. So even today, and this is going to surprise you, even today, many of the bridges and roads have bombs inside the bridges and the roads today, so they can destroy their own bridges quite easily. And the idea is if Switzerland's attacked, they can destroy the bridges and make it difficult for the people who are attacking them. The mountains in Switzerland are filled with what they call bunkers, so that in a war, the Swiss people can go into the mountain and protect themselves. So there's many of these bunkers in the mountains. And in fact, the Swiss homes usually have in the basement what they call a defensive room. This is a big door made out of concrete, and they can shut it and they can protect themselves in their home. So Swiss are they take a very defensive attitude, but they're proud about that. It's about survival. It's about independence, and it gives them a really good feeling that they can survive even under bad circumstances. I wanted to talk a little bit about the customs of Switzerland and the culture. Until now, have you, Monica and Ramya, do you have any questions?
I have, sir.
Please, go ahead.
Like in the picture you're showing now, sir.
Yeah.
The plus symbol in your country.
Yeah.
What does it signify, sir?
Oh, boy. I don't know. Arvin, do you know?
I know the
Arvin, you
answer.
can look it up online.
Yeah, it stands for the Red Cross, you know. So it's the Red Cross movement. I think it started first in Switzerland because it's a neutral country during World War I, World War II. So it came from that. The cross has come from there. So this is an answer that came just often to me. Perhaps there's a better answer to that. We can find out and let you know. But yeah, I think it's because of the Red Cross.
But Monica, you ask a very important question, and let me tell you something interesting. I talked for a long time. Switzerland has 26 states. So how many states does India have? You have Karnataka and Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh and Chennai. How many states are there in India? Arvin, you must know the answer to that. How many states is in India?
Yeah, there are 28 states in India and about
28.
eight union territories. So you can say about 36 if you add both.
Okay. So here's something very, very interesting. Switzerland has 26, and Switzerland is not a country. It's not a country. What do I mean by that? In India, you have one country, and you have a government, which I think is located in Delhi, and the government is in charge of the entire country. In Switzerland, each of the 26 states is fully independent. So that means each of the 26 states has their own laws, they collect their own taxes, they generate their own electricity and water, and the only they're bound together sort of because they're Swiss, but there's no one state that's in charge. The same way with the government. In India, you have a president, I think, who is your president? Modi.
No,
No,
we
he's
have
Prime Minister.
yeah, we have a prime
Prime
ministerial.
Minister.
Venkat.
So yeah, yeah. So we don't
Prime
follow the
Minister.
US model. Yeah.
Yeah, in Switzerland, there's a number of people. And I forget if it's 9 or 7. It's a group of people. There's no one person in charge, and they take turns being the president. So one person will be a president for a little while, and then another person will be a president for a while. If you see the president on the street, usually they're without any bodyguards. They're just walking around with like everyone else. And in fact, I was at a meeting 2 years ago, and I sat next to the president, and I didn't know it was the president. There was someone sitting next to me, and I had no idea. And then they announced that this was the president, and I didn't even know that. And I was sitting next to the person directly. So it's really an amazing place. Any other
Yeah, sorry.
questions?
Sorry, Ken, I have to interrupt you. So I just did a quick Google on the White Cross. So it means that the cross is meant to represent Christianity, which is the most popular
Okay.
religion in Switzerland. So it's not really actually Red Cross has adopted some of the things from the Swiss flag rather than the other way around. So Monica, it's a very
Okay.
good question. You have made us think hard and to find an answer.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate your very, very intelligent question. Yeah.
Put
Ramya,
us
you
to
have any
work.
question?
Yeah.
Ramya, you have any questions like that?
No, sir, I will ask in end.
Okay.
Okay. So I have here some pictures, a little bit about the Swiss culture. Yes, there is a traditional dress. So the men look something like this, and the women look something like this. But you're not going to see that on the street. People do not dress like this every day. At certain festivals and certain special occasions, people will dress like this. So if I go to a small village and they're having a village festival, you will see people dressed like this. But nobody comes to work dressed like this. This is really for the traditional times. Marriage in Switzerland is very interesting. Only around 30% of couples get married. Normally, a man and a woman will just live together. That can be a lot easier because if you're married and then if you split, which in Europe, that's very, very common, people get married and they split, the person who has more money has to give a lot of money to the other person who doesn't have so much money. So there's disadvantages to getting married, and around 30% of couples actually get married. I'm an American, and I've lived all over the world, and I've moved to Switzerland. In many countries, it's easy to make friends and to meet people and to be part of the society. In Switzerland, it's very difficult. In the job, you will have lots of people, and they will treat you nicely. But Switzerland is a country where it can be very, very difficult to really make deep friendships with the people. And in fact, even the Swiss people say that, many Swiss people say that about themselves. If a Swiss person or a family is from one village and they move to a different village, it may be very difficult for them to make friends and form relationships in the new village. And that's, every country is different. In Germany, I thought it was very easy for people to move and make friends. In other countries, it's more difficult. So it really depends on what, every country is different, and it depends what country you're from. There's 4 languages in Switzerland. In the middle, most people speak German. On the south, that's the border with Italy. We have people that speak Italian. We have people that speak French. I'm located right here, right here. That's where I am. And in my city, they speak both. We speak French and we speak German. And remember, keep in mind, Switzerland is smaller than Karnataka. So we're talking about Mysore down here and Bangalore up here. Very, very small. Very, very small. So it would be like, if you think about Karnataka, people speak Kannada all over Karnataka, and here we can't even speak the same language. We speak different languages in Switzerland. I got this out of the internet. Can you, Monica and Ramya, read that? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
ನಾನು ಈಗ
ನಾನು
ಊಟ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ.
ಯಾನ್ ಇಪ್ಪುನ್
Okay.
ಊಟೋನ್ ಮಲ್ಪುಂಡು.
ನಾನು ಈಗ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ನಾನು ಈಗ ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
Okay, Ken,
Okay.
there's a small correction. You said, of course, in India, there are several languages. We don't have a count of that. Even in Karnataka, there are a lot of languages being spoken. Just for example, I think the second sentence Monica
Yes,
mentioned
sir.
is in Tulu, right? It's in
Yes,
Tulu.
sir. Tulu.
Tulu is
Okay, okay.
from where I belong to,
Mangalore.
Mangalore. Yeah, Mangalore.
Mangalore.
Then we speak Konkani. Even
Okay.
Konkani is spoken in Mangalore. So I belong to that community. Then we have in Kodagu,
Okay.
in Coorg, Kodagu, they speak a different language. Okay,
Okay.
Kodava language. So Kodava, Tulu, Kannada, and Konkani.
Okay.
These are the 4 languages spoken in Karnataka. But yeah, generally people speak
But I'm
Kannada.
pretty sure if you go from Mysore to Bangalore, everywhere between Mysore and Bangalore, they're speaking Kannada. You're not going to find too many different
Yeah.
speakers.
Yeah, Kannada is common across all the districts in Karnataka. That is for sure.
So we also have dialects here, and when people speak German, they speak in a different dialect, and the dialects are so different that it's difficult sometimes for people to understand each other. So it can really be a big difference in dialects. Good. I think Arvin, I think I'm at the end of my slides, but there's lots more that I could talk about. So maybe I'll say one thing. If you let me. As I mentioned, I've lived in many different places. And what I would like to tell you, Monica and Ramya, it is difficult to move from one country to another country, no question, but it is possible. And anyone can do that. And the secret is to work hard and to be very good at what you do and to be very professional. And if you are interested someday in coming to the United States or coming to Switzerland or to a different country, don't give up. It's absolutely 100% possible. It's not easy. It takes hard work. But I think Arvind and everyone on the call, we all work hard. I'm a hard worker. Arvind, you're a hard worker. We're used to hard work. So I want to encourage you, if you're interested someday to travel to a different country, to work in a different country, it's absolutely possible. It's not easy, but it's absolutely possible.
Okay, I want to add one more thing here, just for Ramya and Monica. So although Switzerland is in the heart of Europe, it's not part of Schengen. Am I right, Ken? It's not part of Schengen, and they also have a different currency, Swiss franc. They don't follow euro. currency.
Exactly. We are part of Schengen.
Yeah.
So what that means is if you fly to a country like Germany or Spain or France or Italy, you can come into Switzerland. So the visa lets you travel, but the Swiss have their own currency. We have the Swiss francs, but from a travel point of view, as long as you come to Europe, you can come to Switzerland. That's no problem.
But you need a different visa to come to Switzerland. The Schengen visa from India does not work. So you have to take a separate visa for Switzerland.
Unless something changed in the last year, that's not true. So we had many people when I was working in IT that came here. Now you do need a visa. The good news is to actually move here, all you really need is a job. If you can find a job here, they will give you a visa so that you can move. But as I said, moving to another country is difficult. It's possible. As you can see, I've done it many times. But if that is what you want to do someday, then you will do that. No issues. Work hard, be professional, love what you do, enjoy what you do, treat people nice, and you'll get good chances. Ramya, you said that you might have some questions.
Yes, sir. Which is the biggest state in Switzerland, sir?
The biggest, what I don't know if I can do this. Let me see if I can switch gears here and share. Whoops, share screen. Yeah. I hope you can see. Can you see my map? Arvind, can you see my map? Oh wait.
No.
Really? Okay. Yeah, actually, wait. Let me try sharing it again. Just a second. Share screen. Do you see my map?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So if I put in here Switzerland, here's Switzerland. So here's Switzerland. There is a tiny country here called Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
And it's not even as big as Bangalore. This is probably the size of Chickamauga or something.
Yeah.
It's
Not
very,
even
very small.
Not even Baswangudi, where I stay. It's I've been to that country. Small. It starts and ends within 1 minute. That's a small country.
Yeah. I would say there's 4 big cities in Switzerland. The biggest city is Zurich, and it's on this long lake. And that's where the most international city, where the most international people live. I'm very close to this city here, Berne, which is in the west, but they speak German. Another big city is Geneva, and that's the French city where they speak French. And right now, I am located here, where you can see the dots. On the border between the French side and the German side. So in my village, they speak both French and German. Everybody speaks 2 languages. They all speak 2. You can say Guten Tag in German, or you can say Bonjour in French, and they can understand you. As I said,
is Bern the capital of Switzerland?
There is no capital of Switzerland because we're not a country. There's 26 independent states. But it's a good question. You have to have some place for the people to sit. So there is a government building in Bern. And it looks like this. Bern, I can show you images. This is, Bern is a historical city. And so as you can see, it's one of the oldest. It dates back to the year 1200, very, very old. Yeah, I can't, where is it? Yeah, so there's a building where the government sits. What I might also be able to do quickly, you can see it. What I can do quickly, I hope this works out. It should work out. If we lose each other, sorry. If I apply background, none. So you can turn my whole. Can you see me? So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is where I am now. I hope you can see it.
Yeah.
Way in the background, that's the Alps. They're covered with clouds, so you can't see them. But all those buildings down there that you can see, most of those, you can see a castle, you can see churches. Those buildings are from the year 1200. So those buildings are now 800 years old. So the buildings are still there, but there's a lot of old buildings in India also. So Switzerland is not the only place with old buildings, but very, very interesting. Might be able to. I can show you one. I think I can show you one other thing. I'm here at the university, and I can show you one other thing. And hopefully, yeah, that'll work out fine. So the light. The light. Can you see out the window? So that's the
Wow.
lake. So I'm here on the lake. That's the town again. If you can see if you could, well, let's see if I can do it. That's the town. And then if I look over here, that's the can you see it? That's
Yes,
the
sir.
lake I'm at. And as I said, the water is so clean that you can just drink from the lake. And the reason is that the water comes from the mountains. So it's the snow that's melted and it comes down into the lake, and it's very, very clean.
Yeah, and Monica and Ramya, it's just 2:30 p.m. In Switzerland, but by 4
Yes,
p.m.
sir.
4 p.m. it's sunset, right?
Sir, I
Ken?
have some questions, sir.
By 4 p.m. you have
Yeah, go
sunset.
ahead. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
You had a
yeah,
question?
please, yeah.
Sir, what will be the time according, like compared to India, what will the variations of the time in Switzerland, sir?
4.5 hours. I
I
mentioned 4.5 hours.
Oh.
yeah,
It's four and a
it's
half
four and a
hours
half hours,
behind.
but yeah, but it's also a very good question because the question is, I think also, how do we deal with the time here? In Switzerland, we get up very early in the morning. So I'm usually up at 5 o'clock. That's a little bit early. Most people wake up at 6 o'clock. And most people get into the office and start working around 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you join a company, 8 o'clock is the normal start time. Some people start a little bit earlier, 7:30, but already by 8 o'clock, the office is filled with people and they're working. People will work till about 5:30, and then at 5:30 they go home to their families. So that's a lot different than when I lived in Bangalore. In Bangalore at the time, they started a little bit later in the day, and then they worked a little bit later. And here in Switzerland, they like to start very, very early. They also have a very unique sense of time here in Switzerland. If you have a meeting with someone, they expect you to be at the meeting at exactly the start. You can be about 1 minute early, but no more than 1 minute. And if you're more than, let's say, 30 seconds to 1 minute late, it's already too late, and then they'll be mad at you. So they take time here in Switzerland, very, very expensive. You've probably, this is interesting, this is a good point. You've probably heard of the Swiss watches, right? The very expensive Swiss watches. Well, the city that I'm in now that I showed you, this is the city where the Swiss watches are made. So in this direction, there are no companies. They're in a different direction. But if you see my office, I'm actually in what they call the Rolex building. And the Rolex. Here's, say hello. This is Suir. This is my colleague. She's a professor here at the university. That's Monica and Ramya in Bangalore, India, or north of Bangalore. So as you can see, it's green. This is the Rolex building, and this is where they used to make the Swiss watches. And my office is actually where the president of the Rolex company sat. Now that was about 30 years ago, but I'm actually right now sitting in the office of the president of the Rolex company. I don't have a Swiss watch. They are too expensive. They are very, very expensive. And they're too big. They're huge. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you said that you lived or spent 4 years in Bangalore, no, sir?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
What is your opinion
Sambar is the best. Sambar. Oh, I love sambar.
Sir, what is your experience or opinion about your people you met in Bangalore, sir?
Oh,
Like interacting.
yeah. It's that's a really good question. First of all, you find good people and bad people in the whole world. That's a fact. I only had very, very good experiences in Bangalore, where I was working, and Arvind, you know this, I was working at an IT company, and it was very, very international. So I was managing a team, and I had people from Bangalore. I had a woman named Anita, who was from Rajasthan. We had people from all over the country. And that was kind of nice because then you're sitting in a team and you've got people who are speaking different languages and they're coming from different parts of the country. So that was always a lot of fun. I had a good time. I had a very, very good time. My favorite thing was that just traveling, and I didn't like to travel around India. I've seen very little in India. I like to travel around Karnataka, and Karnataka is just so amazing. You have the mountains in the west, the Ghats, and if you go 20 kilometers in any direction, it's totally different. The Kaveri River. It's just, it's amazing. I really, really enjoyed it.
Ken, you mentioned about drinking water from the lake. In fact, Monica and Ramya, most of the Western countries I've been to, you can straight away drink from the tap. Not in India. In India, if you start drinking from the tap, you may fall sick. But any country, you are Europe or US or any Australia or any other country, you can drink directly from the tap. But not,
yeah. You can, Arvin, that's a good point. I don't know how I can show it here. You have to realize India is not the world. So Switzerland was originally a very, very poor country. Do you see my screen still? I don't know if you see my screen.
Ken, you have to remove the background. You know, there's something called apply background that has come on the screen. You should hide it.
Okay.
Apply background. Yeah, it is being shown. Yeah, you have to hide that. Yeah.
Is that better?
No. I'm talking about the menu. Apply background. It is open actually. Yeah. You have to. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see my screen, but a water fountain. Zurich. Zurich. All the cities in Switzerland have water fountains, as you can see here. And you have to realize that Switzerland was a very, very poor country. And until the 1950s and the 1960s, there was no tap water in Switzerland. The 1950s, no tap water. People would come in the village to their local fountain, and they would put a container, and they would fill it up and bring it back into their homes. So it was only very, very recently that Switzerland got tap water. And today, this water in the fountain is a separate system from the tap water. And that's good for emergency purposes, because if there's a problem with the tap water, people can still go to the fountain and drink from the fountain. It's also very, very clean water because it comes from the ground. But don't think that India is like a special place. If you came here just in the 1950s, it would be the same here in Switzerland.
Tell them something about the cows, about the bells.
Yeah, Swiss cowbells.
Yeah.
The cows in Switzerland. Here's maybe some pictures of cows. They wear these huge bells, and the reason that they do that is the cows are in the mountains and they're far away from the people. The cows could be kilometers away from the people, and they live alone. And in order for the people to find the cows, they have these big cowbells that ring and make noise. The cows are used for making cheese. That's a very important product, and the government actually pays the farmers to keep their cows up in the mountains. So if a farmer has a cow here in the village, they can do that. But if they have a cow up in the mountains, they get an extra 1,000 francs from the government, because if the cow lives in the mountains, the cheese tastes different. So it has to do with the way the cheese tastes. But as you can see here, we have many cows in Switzerland, and they're huge cows. I mean, these are really big cows. At the end of the summer, they have a parade, and they walk all the cows from the mountains down to the farms. And that's what you see here. This is a parade of cows, and they decorate the cows just like in India with baubles and jewelry, and they make the cows look very, very pretty. And then they walk from the high mountains down to the village where they keep the cows in the wintertime. Here's another picture here of it.
And each bell is weighs about 15 kgs, right?
Each bell is 15 kgs, and it's designed to be very, very loud, because it's how they find the cows. If a cow gets lost, they need to find the cows.
Sir, in Switzerland, they will grow crops, or they will do agriculture, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Maybe Swiss farms. Not too much. Not too much. So there are farms in Switzerland. Not a very good picture. They don't grow very many different things, and most of the farms are actually part-time farms. So, for example, in India, it's quite usual you'll have a man and his family, and they work on a farm full-time. In India, in Switzerland, and in Germany, usually the man and the family, they'll have a job working for a computer company, and then part-time they will be a farmer. And they'll I don't know in Switzerland, I think in Germany, 60% of all farms are just part-time farms. That means that the people have normal jobs in industry, and for fun, they do farming activities.
Sir,
Yes.
you said that after the age of 13, they have to take a job,
Yes.
no, sir?
Yes,
Is that
yes,
compulsory, or they can continue studying, sir?
That's a very, very good question. So what happens, and this is it's good or it's bad, depending on what you think. When the students are young, and I think it's 12 years old or 13 years old, they have to make a decision about their lives, and they meet with their teacher, and they meet with their parents, and they make a decision. And there's one of three different options. One option is they decide that the student loves to study, wants a professional career as a doctor or a scientist, and they take that student and they send them to the best schools to learn to become a doctor, and then they go to college and they get a college degree. And that decision is made with 12 years old. Then there's other students, and they say, look, they don't want a college degree, but they want some type of a job working with their hands, like a woodworker or a trade. And then they take those people and they send them to a special school where they do two things at the same time. They learn the trade, so they learn how to become a woodworker, but they're also doing schoolwork. So it's a combination of learning a trade and doing schoolwork. And I think the third group is for students that maybe want to get a government job, and then I don't have children, so I don't know too many details, but that decision happens very, very young in their lives, 12 years old. You can always change it, but it means people get a very good education, because if you know that you're not going to go to college, then it's better to start a little bit early learning about the trade that you're going to take.
Sir, is there any festivals you celebrate in your country?
Oh, yes. The 1st of August. So there's a couple of festivals. So right now, national. I don't know if we can have it. August 1st is the holiday where they celebrate Switzerland itself. And every village has parties and fireworks. It's very much like Independence Day in India. It's the same thing, very, very similar. Christmas is a very big holiday, and New Year's is a big holiday. On New Year's Day, that's when they have fireworks. It's kind of like Diwali. They have fireworks and things like that. There's also some local customs. And every village will have its own local customs. In Berne, 2 weeks ago in Berne, we had what they call, I think, if I can find it, yes, in Berne, we had what they call the Onion Festival, and hundreds and hundreds of people come and they sell onions and garlic. And you're probably thinking, boy, that's really strange, onions and garlic. But the whole town smells wonderful, and you can buy garlic, you can buy onion soup and onion bread and onion candy, and they make everything out of onions. And it's really a famous, as you can see here, it's a very famous market in November. So you can see them selling their onions.
Which is the famous dish in Switzerland, sir?
The famous which?
Dish. Food.
Which is the food? Yeah, the cuisine of Switzerland.
Dish. Yes. There's a couple of them. I would say one of the most famous is called Rösti, and it's potatoes that are cut into small pieces and fried. And then you can do anything you want. You can put eggs on it. You could put meat on it. If you're a veg person, you can put veg on it. This is the absolute most famous dish. There's another one in the winter that's called fondue. This is fondue, and it's.
I think you have to share your screen. Ken, we are not able to.
Oh, I'm not sharing it.
Yeah.
Really, it says I'm sharing it. Stop
sharing. Yeah.
Share screen.
I think even when you were showing the cow and the bells, we could not see anything.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen now? Okay, yeah. So fondue is it's melted cheese, and then you take pieces of bread, as you can see here, pieces of bread, and dip them into the cheese, and then eat the liquid cheese. The rösti looks like that. It's basically potatoes, and you can have anything on it you want. You can put onion, you could put eggs, you could put cheese, you could put meats, anything at all. I think those are the two most famous dishes. And the Swiss cows, so that you don't miss that. Images. You can see here some examples. That's a small one. You can see how big the cowbells are. They're really, here we go. You can see how big they are. They're really, really big bells. 15 kilos. Any other questions?
Sir, in our India, there are Prime Minister and CM and President. In Switzerland, there is that like, sir?
Yeah, maybe I can even show a picture of it. Images. Swiss. This is the house where they. This is where they sit. Let's go. I'm always having a hard time with how many. I have some. I'm also slightly dyslexic, so I have a problem remembering certain things. But the Swiss president, maybe that's so. He's what they call the president now, but he's not really a president. Like Modi is the prime minister. As I said, we have 26 different states, and all the states are independent. And he's kind of a ceremonial position. He's, he stands up, and there's a word for it in Latin, primus inter pares, and that means one of many equals. And so, and I forget, and I'm always forgetting how many there are. Does that answer your question a little bit? We have a really small government. Now, what's also interesting, Appenzell, you're not going to believe this. This is going to shock you. There's a village, there's a state in Switzerland. This is the state called Appenzell. And when the people vote, they don't vote with paper, they vote with their hands. So all the people come to the center of the village and they all vote personally with their hands. And that's just amazing. You think that, and that's just because it's so small. They don't need to do things with paper. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think I think we're at the end of the session today. Ken,
yeah,
thanks a lot for taking your time off, and I think you're in midst of your work today, right? You're still in the office, so thanks a lot for.
I'm still in the office.
Yeah, thanks a lot for fulfilling the wish of mentees, Monica and Ramya. Who expressed in the previous session about knowing something bit more about Switzerland, or maybe Switzerland is their dream country. I think one of you mentioned, I'm not sure it was Monica or Ramya who mentioned that Monica, yeah. I think Ramya's is Australia, if I'm not. So I have to get somebody from Australia to talk to you now next. So, but yeah, we as Indians, always have the desire to visit Switzerland because we see a lot of songs, films on Switzerland, Bollywood. I think there is a Bollywood square in near Lake Geneva, I believe. I'm not sure. Yeah. So yeah. So
and in fact, actually, if I can apply the background again, if I can get my Swiss background, you can take a train. It's not cooperating. I wanted my Swiss background. Swiss. Open.
Yeah, it behaves funnily sometimes. Already exists, so that's the reason actually. So you have the image there, I think.
Ah, here it is. Here
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
it's there.
Okay, there
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
Yeah. So believe it or not, you can take a train up to that mountain there. That mountain there. You can take a train up to the top, and at the top you will find an Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's because there's so many Indians that come to visit that it's actually profitable now. There is an Indian restaurant right at the top of that mountain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so like I said, I think if I could say one final thing, I've really enjoyed living in different countries and different cultures and meeting different people, and it's been very rewarding. And if that's something that you want to do, it's absolutely possible. All you need to do is work hard and be professional. It's not easy. You're going to have to work hard. I had to work hard, but I think anyone can do it. And as if you look around here in Switzerland, 25% of the people are foreigners from countries like India and places like that. So in today's world, it's definitely a possibility.